How many times have I heard it? The contractor seemed like a good guy, told us he'd take care of everything, that we don't need permits. You know how that ends, right? Well, when it comes to electrical, permits can be the difference between life and death. Electrical shock, fire, even explosions can happen if a house isn't wired properly. On this episode of the Best of Homes on Homes, we're looking at electrical nightmares. Nice. Awesome. Look at the nest. They got a nest of them. Yeah, baby. But if you're going to do it right the first time.
My hero.
It's perfect. On the money.
Thank you, guys.
You like it?
Oh, do I ever.
Welcome to the Best of Homes on Homes. Chris and Ehor followed the advice I'm always giving. Before you buy a house, get it inspected. Have someone inspect the electrical, plumbing, the HVAC, and give you an idea of past problems and potential future concerns. How did Chris and Ehor know that when the inspector gave the house a passing grade, they shouldn't have trusted it?
It was clean, it was a nice area. The house looked good. Inspector didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
Inspection reports are based on what an inspector can see in plain sight. I mean, it's obvious they can't take down the drywall, but when they miss stuff right in front of their eyes, in this case, there was electrical work right in plain view that was wrong.
Okay, we've had some people in your house playing around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 junction points right here. You were told right out that everything was fine. Electrical was fine, plumbing was fine, not an issue, that it wouldn't cost money to fix. Let me guess.
Absolutely, that's exactly what was told to us.
What's the sense of bringing in a home inspector if they don't give you the right information?
What the inspector should have said was, those junction boxes are accessible, but there are 7 of them in this small area. So you have to wonder, 1, what's behind the walls? 2, was the electrical work done by a licensed electrician? How about 3, did they have a permit?
Can we show you the lights before you leave?
What lights?
The pot lights, the
Yeah.
problems with the pot lights.
Sure.
Electricity pops out a lot, right?
Yeah, we get breakers.
I don't know how to explain that,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? You're up here,
Flipping all the
we have to
time.
go down there and flip the electricity. Yeah. The pot lights come on and off mysteriously, and there's a one pot light that burns out bulbs all the time, regardless of wattage. So, and that's that one right there. Plus, under the stairs, there's a halogen light that it's where the kids play, and it falls out and hangs. And
We have a receptacle box, punched a hole into the ceiling, with a cord plugged in. Okay, I wouldn't like the kids playing with this. Look at this, we even have an on-off here.
The problem is you don't know who the inspector is. I mean, he might be someone who took a 6-week training course.
Was any of this talked about, like this box hanging down like this when the extension cord plugged in?
No. They might not be qualified to be doing that kind of job.
I doubt whoever did the wiring was qualified or that there was even a permit pulled. For Chris and Ehor's safety, why fix the lighting without even knowing what other electrical problems were behind the walls? The basement had to be torn out.
Another junction.
1, 2, 3,
5 more over here.
4, 5 more over here?
8.
We have 8 junction boxes in this one little, what is this? Roughly 8 by 10 room.
That is totally unacceptable. Totally.
What they filled it with? Plastic. Is that a plate on there? It is a plate, eh? Slide?
I've never in my life seen so many junctions in one room. Oh, did you find another junction?
Yep. You're right. Didn't even see it yet. And another one here.
Like, look at the spaghetti factory of
Yeah.
works here. Right here.
Yeah.
How did they even figure out how to tie you in? I swear to God, somebody's come in, wired it, and went, let's see if it works. Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers.
Well, look at this. They even took the side off because they couldn't fit any more in through the actual
They
holes they
come off
give
the
you.
side.
And they came in the side just to add more to it. That's unreal.
How would a home inspector not imagine this?
You see it where in front of your eyes. What's where you can't see it? Look around. Look around. Look at the way things are done. Odds are there's electrical hidden in here, and I'd put my money on it, is what I'd say. It was a good thing I tore the walls out because we found so many junction points that were hidden, not allowed. Lamp cords wiring lights. All kinds of wires had nails and screws through them. I'm surprised the house didn't light on fire.
Use your head. What's the matter with this guy? It's inexcusable. No, I can't even fix it. I think that if an electrical inspector was to walk through, he'd take one walk down, start looking. The minute he'd see all these junction boxes with all the wrong connectors being used, he'd walk right back out. I have never seen this many junction boxes in a basement till this day. I'm just overwhelmed with all the other stuff. I'm allowed to say stuff. I can't say what I want to say. Hey, look, there's already a fire that's broke out in there. You can see all the corroded lines in there. I'm expecting a home fire just waiting to happen. Can I retire after this one?
Can I get you a beer? Can we go for a beer?
Please? Two.
Let's go for a beer.
Something strong?
Let's go watch the line, then.
Strong.
Let's go for a beer. Frank eventually calmed down, but we both knew this house needed a full rewire.
Oh, looky here. I guess this is where they put all the scrap drywall.
The junction boxes were a big hint that there were more serious problems behind the wall. Obviously expensive and extensive. On the bright side, the problems were discovered before any disaster occurred. We've given you everything we could give you that we should give you if it was my home, without taking it down and building a new one.
Incredible. But it looked so good, Mike, remember? It didn't look bad, you're right. But upon further inspection, like, because a person like me would look around and say, it looks normal, right? That's why you pay somebody to tell you if it's good or bad.
Well, welcome to my world of illusions.
Yeah.
What looks good doesn't mean it is.
Mike went all the way. He doesn't stop, right? He takes care of everything, and that's what's wonderful about it. And it's safe. It's safe and comfortable like a home should be.
Some people think a basement renovation is a good place to save money, but you're about to see proof that usually you get what you pay for. We had hidden junction points in the ceiling, probably 7 junction points electrically that you are not allowed to do. Welcome back to the best of Homes on Homes, featuring renovations with the most unbelievably bad electrical jobs I've ever seen. We're calling this episode Shockingly Bad. I've always said doing a renovation takes work. Check your contractors out. Ask them, are they licensed? Are they insured? Get references. And oh yeah, go see their work. Make sure you get permits. Permits mean inspections. Inspections mean accountability. If you're still not convinced, maybe Tom and Rebecca's story will help. Tom and Rebecca wanted to finish the basement because they got a baby on the way. They get a bunch of quotes, all around $15,000, which is not really a lot of money to do a basement, but they still choose the lowest price. Tom.
Hi, Mike. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Rebecca.
Hi, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Come on in.
Come on
I
in.
hear we have some basement problems. They hired a contractor based on claims that his company specialized in basements. He gave them a detailed quote in writing and a 1-year guarantee. Nice. Sounded good to them, so they didn't even bother to check them out. As soon as the job started, there were red flags everywhere.
The only time we saw him was in the morning. He would come and he had the access code for the house, so he would let himself in and he would let these 3 workers in. And interestingly, when we looked at the invoice of where our money had gone, we were able to figure out that the 3 workers were making less than minimum wage.
It's a variation of the old bait and switch. Slick contractors impress the clients and gets the job. Then the workers come in to do the reno and they look like students. At that point, Tom and Rebecca should have put a stop to all the work.
And we didn't really know there was major problems because they put the drywall up and everything looked okay. It's only when they started doing the finish, when they started doing the plaster of the wall, that we could see what a horrible job the finish was.
If the finish is horrible, and it was, what about the work behind the walls? Who did the wiring? A licensed electrician? I doubt it. We can tell that the electrical was not done to code. That's got to be clipped. It should have been drilled up higher here and clipped near the box, meaning just a staple holding the wire. Stationary, not like this. We see an awful lot of receptacles.
Yes.
I think people complain they don't get enough.
Yeah.
Look at this. Every single one of them are poorly done.
Is there any problems in this room?
We're trying not to use the washer and dryer because we have some concerns because in other rooms in the house, when we plug things in, it sparks and sometimes the power cuts out. We are expecting a baby, and with the outlets sparking and that kind of thing, I got really worried that the house isn't safe. We actually didn't want the laundry room here. We wanted this to be an office or a guest room, but the contractor said we had to have it here because this is where it already existed.
I guess you didn't want to get a permit.
No.
I mean,
You have a permit?
no, we didn't have a permit.
No permits means the job is usually not done right and it would never pass an inspection. Permits protect the homeowner. They help ensure that the jobs are done to code and that the house is safe. Outlets that spark? Come on.
My main hope is just to know that it's safe and that we're going to be able to enjoy the basement knowing that it's not a fire hazard and that we don't need to be worried about our safety or the baby.
I have to completely gut this basement. You do know that.
We're hoping that's what you're gonna say.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
We have a totally illegal junction, not even close to being done right. All loose wires, we can see, I just hit that and it actually just shut off the light in there. This was hidden. On all the electrical, do you see any staples anywhere? Do you see any staples at all? Mark, have you found any?
No, I haven't found one.
And this is code. As a matter of fact, it is code to be, what is it?
12 inches.
That's what I
away
thought.
from the box, yeah.
Why? Because in case somebody pulls us by accident,
Exactly.
it doesn't create a short.
That's a disaster.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's here. You're only allowed 12 per circuit. We gotta see this. An extension cord buried in the wall. There's all kinds of cables up there. What the hell's up there?
Well, Mark thinks that might be the stove,
It is
Mike.
no, it's the fireplace.
It is? Yeah.
There's the fireplace right there. So we have an extension cord. At least you can get to it from the fireplace. That's still not the way we do things. When I was talking to the homeowner, they were turning on switches upstairs and lights were flickering everywhere, so they've really tampered with the electrical here. We're gonna have to determine what they've done. It'll be a lot easier when we get everything down. But why do you think that would happen? Why would lights flicker?
Loose neutral. Well, we've seen it in the washroom.
Right.
How the connection was loose. Could be the same thing. And a switch, they probably tapped off of the
An
basement.
upstairs line.
Yes. In terms of their breaker tripping, they double fed the circuit somewhere. So while the switch is on, once they turn on that other switch, it blows the circuit, which is also popping their main. So it's a pretty big dead short.
So we have an illegal junction point over the doorway. We have another illegal junction point here, another point here. Too many visible junction boxes are often a clue that there's an electrical problem. It can mean that someone, probably not a licensed electrician, tapped into existing wiring and possibly overloaded the circuit. Overloaded circuits, they're a fire hazard.
In the contract, he specified that he wouldn't tap into any old electrical lines. He would create all new lines, and he specified he wouldn't hire any subcontractors. He put things such as he would put a special GFI outlet in the bathroom, just numerous things that he put in writing but didn't fulfill.
And you're gonna have to break open upstairs to get to the line to run a new line. Where? Direct?
Yeah.
Problem being is the two junction points here were the lines upstairs in the wall, the receptacles. So in order to eliminate this so we can drywall it, we don't have to have an access panel to get to it, we've got to now go upstairs, break the wall, pull out the line, run a whole new line to the panel, or at least to an area that is accessible, such as the furnace room. Okay, do what you gotta do. Try not to do too much damage.
All right.
We'll fix it. Two pot lights, receptacles. More than likely, this will be a TV wall, I'm gonna assume, so we'll set up for that later with cable. I'll run a cable line through just in case for the future.
I can do that for you, too.
We are going to have the laundry room in this location here, so we're gonna need everything to do with the laundry setup and go over with Dan how we're gonna do this. I believe the dryer's right here, the washing machine's there, that way we can vent directly up and out.
And the other thing I'll do is I'll keep the lighting on one circuit It plugs on another circuit.
I like that. If you blow the receptacle, you have light.
Exactly.
This is a big mistake when they tie the lights in the receptacles. You blow the light and you're in the dark.
Yeah. Plus, also, if you plug something in that's drawing a lot, your lights aren't gonna dim.
Right.
You know he's gonna insulate. He's got his shirt buttoned right up to his neck. He's got his sleeves taped to his arm. I don't want insulation under my shirt. I love it. Whenever there's insulation, special pot lights are needed. The lamps are set in the metal box with a thermal switch inside, so if they overheat, they shut off automatically.
Perfect. You know, you stand here, you look down, and they're on the money. Describe the line, be precise on it as much as possible. The cleaner we are to it, the better. And let's also take a measurement of these areas and do not hit it. Always keep visual of what's there, plumbing, electrical, where you can't put a screw.
Whenever you're renovating, including a basement, fight the urge to get a deal, please. It scares me seeing basement jobs like these, knowing the house could easily have burned down. Don't take the lowest bid. Don't trust your contractor's quote. See his work for yourself. Insist on the permits and pay what it takes to get a professional job done. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. When a bad tenant with a green thumb wants to hide how much power he's using, the electrical work is not only creative, it's potentially lethal.
We got some real champions here to know exactly what they're doing. I've never before seen a cord hole. Look how they tied into that. They just tapped right into the line.
Welcome back to the best of Homes on Homes. We've collected highlights of some of the worst electrical jobs we've seen in more than 100 episodes. Usually when people rent a house as an income property, they can expect some minor repairs when tenants move out. But what if the police haul them out and you discover your house was housing plants and not people? That's what happened to Lisa, who was devastated to learn her rental property had become a marijuana grow-op.
Normally, I'm used to doing a lot of fixing from bad contractors, guys that don't care, leave the homeowner high and dry. In this case, Lisa actually rented out her home to someone that she thought was good people.
They just seemed like a very hardworking family. And I signed the lease and I kind of just relaxed.
Sounded good, they looked good. They were living here for a couple of years. But they turned the house into a grow house. They were growing more than just flowers.
I got a phone call from my son, and he said they were using the house for a marijuana grow-op. Mike, hi.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
How you doing?
So I turned to my daughter, I said, well, I guess they probably have a few plants in the house, and what's the big deal?
Lisa was about to learn how grow-ops avoid discovery. They cut holes in the garage walls to get in and out of the house to be unseen. They cut holes in the floors to run ductwork throughout the house and send exhaust up the chimney. They drill holes everywhere to run wiring for the lights and even to steal electricity from the grid. To top it off, the house had to be quarantined until all this could be fixed.
What is this?
Well,
Coming in, what do I see? 5 orders on the door from the government.
Oh, they were fast, weren't they?
Can't go in the house or stay in the house or sleep in the house due to structural issues. Can't go in the house, sleep in the house, stay in the house, no hydro.
I guess they left some behind, eh?
Yes.
Wow.
Can't go in the house, stay in the house, sleep in the house because the furnace is not hooked up properly, mean off gases. Everything needs to be fixed.
Chips, wine, crackers.
Yeah, they were celebrating.
They were celebrating. Either that or they had the munchies. The grow-up had also left some other damage. A single marijuana plant puts out about a half a liter of moisture into the air every day. The house had 500 plants, so it was like a sauna in there. No doubt we were gonna find mold. But for the stolen electricity, ironically, the wiring job done here was top-notch, as good as any electrician I know.
Look how neat this is. All on timers, everything's scheduled to go on and off when they want it to. More lines run. Look at this. Oh, they have a sub panel there. Okay.
Here's where they tapped in. Look at this. They cored an 8-inch hole. Missed on the first one, came back up, hit the second one. And how did they tap? Oh, they tapped in right there. Are you kidding me? Okay, so they can't have anyone see how much electricity they're actually using. It's a dead giveaway to the power company, who then calls the cops, and boom, the jig is up. So the bad guys have to bypass the house meter, which means they have to get to the main power line. That's serious power, serious live power, and very dangerous work. Stories I've heard, they take a jackhammer and break this whole wall, which is why the building inspectors say, they're worried about the integrity of structure. These guys cored a hole and worked on that. I don't believe that. That's just pure raw power. I'm surprised they didn't get killed. Okay, a house full of holes, mold, structural problems, and now our electrician Frank tells me there could be an even bigger problem for the homeowner.
The main lines here that are coming in and they're tapped from the hydro outside, that will be fixed from the local utility. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that depending how the bills were set up on this home, if the bills were set up under the homeowner's name, their charge may end up being between $30,000 to $40,000.
What?
I kid you not, for the stolen power.
You're kidding? It's like a fine?
Yep. It all depends, because someone's gonna have to pay for the power that's been stolen.
So the problem list now includes electrical, structural, and we've just added financial if Lisa's going to face fines from the electrical company. There's mold in every bedroom, and to top it all off, we find asbestos in the drywall compound. Our abatement team had to come in and remove all the ceilings and the bottom half of the drywall. Then they used dry ice to remove the mold that was up in the attic. And then Frank had more bad news for me, a mix of aluminum and copper wire in the electrical work. Do we really got to rewire the whole house? I did see some copper in here, so we have half and half, don't we?
Yes, there is a mixture in here. But we have enough open. It doesn't make sense not to rewire it at this point. We can run the arc faults and do this properly and get rid of the aluminum. We're here.
Okay, rewire it.
Okay. All the outside walls, there's no poly. So we're gonna put poly on all the boxes. Give me a few 1104s, because on some of the walls, they don't have plugs where they should. So I'll spread them. You guys start putting them up. We're gonna end up getting all the aluminum out, and we're gonna replace all with copper lines throughout the home. Adding receptacles where they should be. On the outside walls, there wasn't any. We're adding vapor barrier. For some reason, there wasn't any vapor barrier around the outside boxes. So we're gonna make sure that the vapor barrier's there and get it all done properly.
Hydro's losing a ton of money due to grow-ups.
A lot, and we have no real way of knowing exactly how much, because there's so many out there that we don't know. Because of this situation that we've got right here, there's no way to detect it.
In this case, we saw 7 60-amp breakers on a 200-amp panel. That would be a lot of power they'd be using, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they could be using anywhere from 100 kilowatt hours a day to 700 kilowatt hours a day in a place like this. Normal home uses 45 in this area.
Wow, I had no idea it was this bad. No idea at all. What Lisa didn't think was a big deal added up to about $100,000 worth of work. Asbestos and mold abatement, new drywall, attic insulation, new hardwood floors and carpeting, trim and paint, and of course, a complete new electrical job. Definitely a big deal. One of the most terrifying thoughts any homeowner can imagine is knowing they have live wires unprotected behind their finished walls.
The very junction is live.
Welcome back to the best of Homes on Homes. This episode is all about electrical work, and after more than 100 episodes, I'm still surprised by these stories. Here's a homeowner who saved up in order to put good money into a reno done right. Jeremy buys a beautiful little bungalow. Nice area, quiet, we hear the birds going, springtime, I love it. You know, pool in the backyard, great little tiny home. Jeremy.
Mike.
How are you, man?
Good.
It's a nice little old house, hey?
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy wanted a new kitchen. He got 4 to 5 estimates and chose a well-known contractor who quoted $35,000.
And I asked everybody to do a gut, you know, what I called a gut, which to me is going down to the bare bones.
Did they?
And start over. No, they did not. One of the walls has a plywood along the entire base of the wall. And I told them I wanted that ripped out and drywalled. Even though it's behind cabinets, I still wanted it done right. And I was a little also concerned of some of the electrical work that was in that piece of plywood. They kept telling me, yeah, we'll remove it. In fact, I did a change order where I specifically said, remove it.
They did the exact opposite. They tiled right over the old floor, despite promising to remove it. They drywalled over an existing window, even though Jeremy had insisted they remove it. Finally, Jeremy had enough.
I really lost it. I sent email to the owner. I told them that I didn't want them coming back to the house, that I was going to turn my alarm on if they came in, using my key, that I'd have the police show up. I was just really upset. It's what's underneath that worries me. Like, it's easy to make it look good on the outside, but, am I going to have to rip it out in 2 years to fix everything that's wrong underneath?
That's why it should have been ripped out in the first place. Look at this. It brings the electrical through where the drywall is. Totally unacceptable. What if you put a screw through that? These are actually designed for homeowners, do it yourself, that they put these against the bottom and then you plug it in a receptacle. But what they did was they cut the plug line and attached an electrical line to it. Not very smart, not acceptable, not allowed. Why didn't they just plug it in? That's live. Mine picked it up. Mine picked it up. Your battery might be dead. See?
Nice.
Buggers. It's a plastic bag. A small plastic when it burns. Amazing how stories tell, when you open things up. Why do we open them up? Well, one, to take a look. So as I open it up, and this is the reason that I keep preaching to the world, open it up, and it's what you wanted. You said, I'm paying for this, I want it opened up, and they believed that they didn't have to. Let me show you a few reasons why I want it opened up.
Sure.
They close off the ductwork, nothing but cold air comes in there, cold meets hot, what happens? Condensation.
That's right to the outside, too, right?
That's right to the outside. So they didn't even put insulation in there. We now see old electrical. We're pinched off. They actually pinched the old electrical with the ductwork by trying to fold it back in. You can see how tight it is against that electrical line. And you can see, even from years ago, that the old knob and tube actually did burn some of the wood. So it is a scare when it's not used properly. And it's usually because people overload those lines. We will pull the knob and tube. We open it up. What do we find? Many things wrong, not just from this contractor, but from the years behind it. That's why you got it. I am so sick of seeing this. How many times do I look around and I see junction points hidden in the floor everywhere? But you now have the ability to go after contractors, homeowners, doesn't matter who they are, if they don't get a permit and the job is done wrong, right?
That's correct.
So we have a new force here.
We have a new force here. We're actually enforcing the Electricity Act, and we can actually go after contractors who've done work illegally. Also, people who've not taken out permits with the Electrical Safety Authority. We're going after them, and we're actually getting our convictions, and it's been very effective.
What's the fine? 5,000, 10,000? We're saying
up to $50,000. We get our convictions. Of course, it depends on the severity of the situation. It'll vary, but it's up to $50,000 fines.
Now that is good news. I've always been saying we need more teeth to go after the contractors who leave behind messes like this. With wiring, it's not just about making life difficult for the homeowner and the next contractor who goes in to clean up. It's about dangerous fire hazards. Houses can burn down because of bad wiring. So with licensed electricians, permits, and the proper materials, we made it right, and Jeremy got the kitchen he should have had in the first place. Electricity bills are not the homeowner's best friend, especially as they seem to get higher every year. Technology, though, is improving to the point where it can reduce the power consumption of a house by up to 90%. So if we do this right, we don't use too much electricity during the day, it will feed back to the grid, and odds are you have a zero electrical cost at the end of the month.
I think you'll be real close to zero with this house.
Welcome back to the best of Homes on Homes, the shockingly bad edition. We're showing highlights of renovations dealing with electrical work, but this case is unusual. Everyone needs power, whether you live on an island or even the mainland. We got to keep the lights on, and we have to learn to be creative about it, generating it and conserving it. When a natural disaster hits, electricity is usually the first utility to go. When we had the chance to be part of rebuilding a high-risk community, increasing independent power production was a high priority. New Orleans, Louisiana, world famous for Mardi Gras and being the birthplace of jazz music. But not so long ago, it made headlines for being underwater. Hurricane Katrina slammed into the Gulf Coast and a 15-foot storm surge made its way up the Industrial Canal, flooding New Orleans. Over 1,000 people died and over 250,000 homes were destroyed. The hardest hit area was the lower 9th Ward. 3 years later, not much had been repaired. The concrete porches and the wrought iron railings were the only reminders of homes that had been there for decades. And I knew we had to get involved and help make it right. 10 weeks after we arrived in New Orleans, we were finally putting the finishing touches on one of the first homes built in the lower 9th Ward. Most of this neighborhood is below sea level, so even though the storm walls are being rebuilt, I wanted to build a house that would never wash away, even if another Katrina hit and the water rushed in again. Building the house on 8-foot pillars would do just that. The second consideration was energy efficiency. New Orleans gets extreme weather, and we didn't want the homeowners facing big utility bills. We put in geothermal heating and cooling. It uses less energy, so it's less expensive. We backed that up by insulating with a closed-cell spray foam to keep the cool in and the heat out. But the biggest money saver would come from solar energy technology.
These are evergreen solar panels. Each one puts out 180 watts. We have a total of 20 panels in this system.
Will it feed back to the grid?
It will feed back to the grid.
So if we do this right and we don't use too much electricity during the day, it will feed back to the grid, and odds are you have a zero electrical cost at the end of the month.
I think you'll be real close to zero with this house.
Yeah, I like that. And I think Gloria's going to love that.
With all of the energy efficiency measures and the building techniques and appliances in this home and the solar combined, this home is going to use 85 to 90% less energy than a modern code-built American home.
Wow, that is awesome. I love seeing solar power catching on to even small portable uses, from garden lights to smartphone chargers. And if you're not in the market for solar panels, then buy efficient appliances and light bulbs. Take the light bulb. 700 to 1,000 hours of light was standard for an incandescent traditional bulb. LEDs can last 10 times that, using over 90% less power. After that, we all have to be more creative. When you see where Anne spends her summers, you'll see why creative problem solving became a big part of this job.
I first came to this island when I was 8 years old. My son grew up here and my daughter, and they both love it. My grandchildren are loving it. My cottage is called a place of friends, so I have some wonderful, wonderful memories.
One not so pleasant memory for Anne was having her knee give out when she was in the shower. With no grab bar there, she fell, leaving her in terrible pain.
I couldn't move, I couldn't get up. The shower was so small and tiny. I'm sure it was 4 hours. Like it seemed like forever anyways, but I know it was a long time.
After an operation to correct her knee problem, Anne knew that installing a safety bar was reason enough to redo her bathroom. She hired a friend's son to do the work, but he didn't know what he was doing, and Anne was left with an unfinished bathroom and still no safety bar. So he's made a custom shower. He hasn't finished, or is he finished?
No, he was let go.
He was let go. You fired his butt.
Yes.
Good for you. How much did he charge you, by the way?
Up until this point, it was $10,000.
There is no way that the contractor did $10,000 worth of work, but we were more than happy to rip out the mess and give Anne the bathroom she deserved. But as we spent time there and seeing Anne's walking was still shaky after the operation, I was seeing some definite safety hazards with the ramp from the dock. I decided to take advantage of us being there and bring it up to code and making it safer for Anne. I think the rail should be on this side. This is the dangerous side.
Right.
That side is like there's nothing to fall to, right? Here, you can fall down, especially her, can slip and fall right into the water.
Right.
Maybe we can do one here and one here, right? I wanted to put in some LED lights in the floor, 2 in each board as we go down, 10 on each side, 20 in total, because we can put 20 on one driver. But these are unique lights. They're very small. They're like a little puck light that goes down into the floor. So what it's going to do is whoever comes in here at nighttime can see the path they're going to take as they come up. Think of a plane landing. It's a landing strip. Why LED lights over traditional incandescent bulbs? Being compact, we can install them flush into the decking face. They use a lot less energy and they last longer, so money saved there. And lasting almost 10 times longer, we don't keep Ann running to the store buying light bulbs every month.
Nothing like laying down on the job. Get up. These are known as Scotch locks in the industry, and basically there's actual little connectors inside there that when we squeeze this, the little teeth grab a hold of the wire and it makes a very good connection. Plus they're silicone filled, so that nothing will be able to get in and interrupt that connection.
One thing I love about LED, not only are we environmentally friendly, thinking about using less energy, I think the major pro to this, Frank,
it lasts.
Mosquitoes don't see LED lights. Did you know that? Just perfect. When all the work was finished, we brought Ann home. She loved her new bathroom, but she was especially grateful for the new dock lighting.
Oh my gosh.
These are LED lights. They do not require a lot of power. And right now it's on remote, and we can put it on with your timer of your other lights. I just wanted to surprise you with it.
Yeah,
Does it look like a runway?
Oh, does it ever look like a runway?
That'll keep you on track, eh?
That's for sure. Do you know the difference that those lights will make instead of those other ones that fall over all the time and break? And oh my gosh, that is unbelievable.
I hate to sound like a broken record, but if you're dealing with a contractor who doesn't get permits, you've got someone who doesn't want to be accountable to anyone. He yelled at you.
All the time.
And you didn't kick his butt out of this house?
Because he threatened to lien.
He's threatened to lien. He's threatening a lien on a job he did not get permits on? Welcome back to the best of Homes on Homes. We're looking at all the electrical problems left behind from contractors who didn't want to take time to do things right. In this case, as we've seen in others, when you allow a job to be done without permits or allow a contractor to talk you into not getting permits, you're automatically putting yourself at risk. Permits mean inspections and a pretty small price to pay for making sure the job is done right. Julie and Joe bought this house. It's a fairly new home a few years ago. They need another room. So they call in a contractor, and contractor says, because they were looking at, can we put a room in the attic? Contractor says, absolutely yes.
Hello.
Julie, nice to see you again. Joe?
Nice to see you.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
We just wanted a room, a nice, structurally sound room, something that's not going to be the danger of anybody or fear of falling or, that's going to ruin our house.
We want it done right.
Yeah.
Do we have permits?
No.
He said it would be an extra $5,000 to get a permit done. We will give you drawings, but no permits.
Permits cost a few $100s, not thousands. If a contractor doesn't want permits, it means he doesn't want to use professionals to do the work. As soon as I looked at this attic, it was clear this was not the work of pros. Holy crap. And look at all the electrical cut-ins.
He told us he was going to get us a certified electrician to come in and do all the electrical. The worker from the day before did the electrical. And I said, are you a certified electrician? And he said, no. He said, I just dabble in it every once in a while. I'm thinking, okay.
Julie and Joe knew they were facing trouble with this contractor, but felt they were already in too deep. Clearly, the work wasn't being done by professionals, which is so unbelievably dangerous when dealing with electricity.
So he hooked up all the electrical. It took them weeks to hook up the electrical. And it's a complete mess up there. There's those boxes everywhere, and it's just a mess. Nothing works.
The building code says each electrical circuit can have a total of 12 devices on one circuit. That's receptacles, lights, etc. Any more than this is considered an overload. Here, the contractor tapped into existing lines rather than running new ones. Soon as I saw that, I knew the circuits were overloaded and that it all had to come out. I decided to take it apart from the outside in. It didn't take long after removing the drywall to find even more wiring problems.
What do you see?
Did you cut that line?
Nope. Which one?
These two.
Nope, they were there. They were just pushed up into the insulation like that.
Well, how the hell were they going to tie into that later?
I have no idea. Oh my God.
Can you imagine bringing an electrician saying, the wires are run,
Yeah.
but where is the junction to tie in? This one's completely hidden, and it's live. When we removed the floor, we found even more. Look at the electrical. Junction point, that's 2. Junction point, that's 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This side alone. We obviously see more over there. Every single existing line has been tapped into. Every single one of these will have to be traced down, put back the way it was. Frank's gonna have a herring. As soon as I get the roof cut and finished, I'm gonna start opening it up, and then we can coordinate with you, hopefully, to determine what they've tied into. You're gonna love the way they did the pot lights in the ceiling down here. We had some proper pot lights with housing, and then the other pot lights, no housing. There's only 2 with housing. So we had all the installation in with retrofits.
It clearly says it right on the retrofit pot light that within 3 inches of insulation, don't use it.
Well, that was
clearly says it.
Piled right over it.
Yeah, well, nice little fire hazard. They had receptacles coming off of the lighting circuit, which is 100% incorrect. They need to be arc fault protected since it's going to be used as a bedroom. So we're just going to be pulling out whatever we have and just rerunning it brand new.
Arc fault circuit breakers are relatively new to the building code. In bedrooms, quite often, there is an outlet behind the bed or the night table, usually for plugging in lamps and clock radios. If the bed is constantly pushing against that plug, there's a chance it could create an arc or a spark, and that could lead to a fire. The arc fault breaker shuts off the circuit before that can even happen. In the end, we did a complete rewire to the attic and to the new bedroom addition. We also had to rewire all the main floor lines that had been tapped into previously. We finished the addition and gave Julie and Joe the new bedroom they wanted. It would have been easier if they hired a contractor who insisted on permits. And for a few extra dollars it would cost, isn't it worth it?
Oh
my God.
A little bigger, eh?
You could say it's a little bigger, yes.
It's huge. He saved us, he saved our house, and he saved our family. If it wasn't for him, we would have had to put all our money back into this house to get it even back to where it was before we did the renovation. And we would have never been able to afford to adopt. So because of Mike and Homes on Homes, we have a second child.
Yeah.
I'm done?
I think you're done. Unless you want, I can't thank you enough. I really can't thank you enough.
You're welcome, sir. And you're welcome. My goodness. For me, it's heartbreaking to see people get taken by contractors who take the shortcuts. Sure, your contractor can tell you he doesn't need permits, but where will he be when you need to call the fire department? Take electricity seriously. Hire people who think the same way and back it up by getting permits. It's worth it. Worth the money, worth the security. And when you can, learn about new ways to use less electricity in your home. It's an easy guarantee to paying smaller bills, and how many guarantees are there in life? Good job, guys. I'm buying. Let's go.
Dad, wait for me!
For more information about this show, please visit hgtv.ca.